All right, back with another fucking session.
Okay, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Blow your whistle, blow your whistle. Yeah, 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 yeah. Blow your whistle. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Blow your whistle. Yeah, blow your whistle. My dogs too official. They come running when I whistle. Cause they wanna know the issue. So they try to pull the pistol. You can listen to them go.
On the monopill, when you see him with the Nina, man, I wouldn't want to be in grip. Up, then they grip a tick-tock, boom, it's a hip. Up, when they dribble to the right, go to whistle. Quick, then they grip a tick-tock, boom, it's a hip. When they dribble to the right, go to whistle. If she blow my whistle like a whistle, with a rainbow. Moving in a T5, about to let my steam blow. Till they cripple tick tock, won't miss a hip hop. When they dribble to the right, blow the whistle grip hop. Till they cripple tick tock, won't miss a hip hop. When they dribble to the right, blow the whistle. Like mayonnaise and no band-aids, man-made, back page. Drop balls in the whistle, wasn't this one popping bottles like a pimple, 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 pimple. Yeah, okay, okay. Yeah. Blow your whistle, blow your whistle. Yeah, blow your whistle. Yeah, blow your whistle. Yeah, blow your whistle. Quick, walk till they grip the tick tock. Won't miss you hip hop when they dribble to the right. Blow the whistle. The early bird catches the worm, the worm, the worm. Trap House Entertainment. Yo, Wendy, what up, what up, what up? How you doing? Oh, so we so I actually finished the shirt earlier today off camera, the pink shirt. So I got like the last few wrinkles underneath the arm and here and try to get some of that tonal change in there. So that's done for now, which looks pretty good. Those, like I say, those folds and wrinkles came out nice. And so next we're going to start highlighting the hair is the next thing we're going to do, which is the last layer for the last part of the first detail layer is the hair and his glasses. So we do have to, but the glasses, they're just black frames. So we'll run over that when we do the hair. But yeah, the last part of detail layer number one, and then we'll start running through the final detail layer, just adding a few light highlights here and there. And this piece is gonna be done in no time. We have this piece done in no time. I spent a few minutes trying to edit down the first part of this throughout the time lapse. So we got that on the way too. I actually added some reels to TikTok and added something else to the Amazon store. This one is moving hella fast. You're not wrong. I feel the same way too, Wendy. This one is going hella fucking. I think just because it's me and my boo, I'm just so excited to work on this thing. But also, I tell you what the main thing is: solid color shirts. A blue shirt, a fucking pink shirt. And yeah, there's a lot of tonal changes in there, but it's no patterns, designs, all that extra stuff like made it way easier. Just a solid fucking colored shirts. Really, I really think that's what got me here this fast. Is not worrying about putting graphics or trying to letter something or whatever it is with clothes, man. Sometimes people just wear the most elaborate, exuberant patterns they can find. But nope, we went with nice solid colors, easy peasy, flying through this piece. Uh-oh. Making fucking record time. All right. Get some meditation going real quick. And then we're gonna jump right into no, we're not jumping right into anything. I gotta clean my palette off. So next thing is, since I am done with the clothes right now, I gotta clean the palette off and put some black. Just gonna do black and white. Probably a little bit of blue, maybe. Maybe not even blue. So you already got hella white on there. So honestly, I just need to add some black. I will scrape these colors off real quick. That's pretty easy. Got a little bit of paint on myself. It's all right. Now we're going to add black and blue. Let's see. I'm gonna need a new tube of this black very soon. I'm putting a decent amount. And then a blue. Doesn't really matter what blue, honestly. I might just do a little dab of this ultramarine. And that should be more than enough for that. And hopefully that'll get us where we need to go today. All right, without further ado, let's get this party started. Let's get set up real good first. All right. So our time-lapse camera is in a good spot.
Trap house on the table. Yeah. While you in the whole slept, I practice my ghost step, no wreck. You get hung up like a coat check, no sweat. Y'all little niggas ain't no threat. Protest and get stretched out like a boat flex. King like Hotep, no prep. Stay ready, bench press, no stress. Cause the crown real heavy, gotta hold it steady. Being a mother is dead, one wrong move and they coming for your headpiece. The greatest of all time, the game is all mine. You walk in the thin line, I think with a small mind. I design every rhyme, I'm still in my prime. The mother had to climb, now you can't stop my shine. The greatest of all time, the game is all mine. You walk in the thin line, I think with a small mind. I design every rhyme, I'm still in my prime. The mother had to climb, now you can't stop my shine. GOATTRAP, House Entertainment, ENT. We roll daily on Easy Street. You gon' pay me or get these feet and be in disbelief when you be missing teeth. I win so much, y'all miss a sleep. I spin donuts, never miss a beat. Start making you niggas call me Mr. T. It's all time, the game is all mine. You walk in the thin line, you think with a small mind. I design every rhyme, I'm still in my prime. Like the mother had to climb, now you can't stop my shine. The greatest of all time, the game is all mine. You walk in the thin line, I think with a small mind. I design every rhyme, I'm still in my prime. Like the mother had to climb, now you can't stop my shine. I'm gonna go like cash play, faster than a pin on a hand grenade. On a boat in Mandalay, with Hennessy and Alizé, that's only they stripper name. Red bottom, blue checks, who you gonna screw next? I make one bite, so you know I had a few left. When it hit your chest, gonna make you lose a few breaths. GOAT, watch me do it too. The shares of all time, the game is all mine. You walk in the thin line, you think with a small mind. I design every rhyme, I'm still in my prime. Out the mud I had to climb, now you can't stop my shine. The greatest of all time, the game is all mine. You walk in the thin line, you think with a small mind. I design every rhyme, I'm still in my prime. Out the mud I had to climb, now you can't stop my shine. GOAT, GOAT. Trap House Entertainment. Trap house, trap house, trap house. That trap house entertainment. If you think long, then you think wrong. Had a brain fart and a brain fart, but I stay up and I stay hard. I'm loud and sharp like a chainsaw, and I study all of the case logs. So if they died and they fought. If you want to smoke, don't scream assault, because I can smoke all day long, kicking shit like day long. I'm street fighter, I keep fire like a deep fry. Got meat flies that detail my desires. You get short circuit, it rewire. Using AI, now I brainstorm. Jumping all these hits like a rainstorm. Cause I upgrade, then I change forms. I want everything that I came for. Don't get lost in the dark, don't get lost in the dark. Don't get caught in your thought, don't get caught in your thought. Don't keep passing it off, don't keep passing it off. Don't get trapped in the fog, don't get trapped in the fog. If you got this far, then you better walk you walk, then you better walk you walk. Never step aside, continue to talk your talk, continue to talk your talk. Don't get lost in the dark, don't get lost in the dark. Don't get caught in your thought, don't get caught in your thought. Don't keep passing it off, don't keep passing it off. Don't get trapped in the fog, don't get trapped in the fog. If you got this far, then you better walk you walk, then you better walk you walk. Never step aside, continue to talk your talk, continue to talk your talk. That brain fog will have your vision busy. You a lame dog, I heard you guzzle glizzy. It's like State Farm, I'm forever busy. Gotta stay calm and don't get pissy. It's like Miss Piggy, nigga, you's a puppet. You so sus, need a new discussion. Using tools in public is a losing subject. My goons bring heat like a moving oven. So who you bluffing like we? I don't know. Cause it's hard to see you when them clouds low. So I stay high like an alto in that alcove. My dog's eating like Alpo, till we out cold. Keep your mouth closed. Who you spoken to? I'm still tough talk. You are open shoe, and I'll smoke you cool with hella fumes like a backwood. Let's move it. Don't get lost in the dark. Don't get lost in the dark. Don't get caught in your thought. Don't get caught in your thought. Don't keep passing it off. Don't keep passing it off. Don't get trapped in the fog. Don't get trapped in the fog. If you got this far, then you better walk you walk. Then you better walk you walk. Never step aside. Continue to talk your talk. Get shit all good too. You better watch your step when you moving in the streets. Trap house entertainment. If you know what I know, better keep your eyes closed. Back roads and them pine cones make it hard to find. You know what I know, better keep your eyes closed. Back roads and them pine cones make it hard to find. I can hear you talk about me, never sidestep. I just make you niggas walk around me, play some shy bet. Cheat like pirates, fuck around and pull that dog about me. Came from the balcony is what it's about to be. Make you sleep like counting sheep. Told you I'm the best, better beat it. Michael Jackson in my Heisenberg, Walter White, I'm Michael Cranston. Anyway, I keep them matching street romance. Buried in the snow, like a Neverland. Passing packs, smoking like I'm trying to kill my cataracts. If you know what I know, better keep your eyes closed. Back roads and them pine cones make it hard to find. You know what I know, better keep your eyes closed. Back roads and them pine cones make it hard to find. Niggas say they rapping, really rapping, and show no action. My goons laughing, we ship the product and move the package. We do the knowledge and dollar stacking. Might kidnap your grandson, mama holler, get the ransom. I'm handsome but still a villain. You think I still won't kill him? Go figure. You hang around gold diggers and cold sniffers and other broke niggas. You broke niggas. The hood knows me for more than selling dope, nigga. Guess that's how she wrote. Let me dip before I poach niggas. If you know what I know, better keep your eyes closed. Back roads and the pine cones make it hard to find. If you know what I know, better keep your eyes closed. Back roads and the pine cones make it hard to find home.
If you know what I know. If you know what I know, better keep the eyes closed. Back roads and the pine cones make it hard to find home.
Trap house entertainment. Misery loves company. We never borrow sorrow. So if you ever come for me, if feelings where you wallow. Misery loves company. We never borrow sorrow. So if you ever come for me, if feelings where you wallow. Miss calculating this your fate. Bragging about with it showcase. Please don't lose in this show. Hey, I can see the bitch all in your face. The look of disgrace, shame and sorrow. The emptiness makes you feel hollow. Plus the pain still remains tomorrow. Seen another day, but that still follows. That's gonna be a tough pill to swallow. Watch it down when they hit the bottle. Drunk on race, so they hit the throttle. They crash out like they hit the lotto. A new bravado, a new Movado. A few more dollars, a new model. Is that how your deeper losses, the deepest darkness, they keep on much emotion. So I thought still spiral. Feeling so low, you can't take the arrow. Scared of the truth and keep your eyes closed. Just don't add your woes to my low. Miss emotion. So I thought still spiral. Feeling so low, you can't take the arrow. Scared of the truth and keep your eyes closed. Just don't add your woes to my low. Rain clouds around my head. Inside I feel dead. My room is real red, happiness, the guilty, nothing mixed with feeling. Really fuck the feelings, the darkness is chilling, the lights revealing. Misery will come for me, but never borrow sorrow. So if you ever come for me, yeah, and feelings where you are, misery will come for me, but never borrow sorrow. So if you ever come for me, it's feelings where you wallow. So if you ever come for me, if you ever come for me, feeling where you wallow. On the dump, see them coming, but I do. The niggas creeping behind you. Ever move that work, cause it ain't your turf. Niggas shouldn't have to remind you. Them bullets is flying now. That boy is crying now, but nobody hears us. Yeah. Never cheat on me, she said she was talking to a man with a heart full of anger. In the 357 Magnum in her hand. She put 2 in his chest, put 2 more in his head. She said if she could have him, then nobody can. She wouldn't let him go though. Didn't have the strength to hold on. Put the gun to her head in school. I see. Nigga, you killed my homeboy. Know I gotta avenge that. Black mask, and I know where you live at. I went through a lot to get you, so I know I won't miss you. I'm killing whoever with you. Yeah, whatever did it, that God's my life. Dear Lord, don't let me die tonight. But if I shall before I wake, then I'll accept my fate. When I committed sin, my heart was in the right place. I did what I did to put food on my plate. So when they come for me, keep me safe. I see dead people coming out of their grave, wiping the dirt off their shirt, still walking around the earth, watching their death recur, climbing out of their grave, wiping dirt off their shirt, still walking around the earth. I see dead people climbing out of their grave, wiping dirt off their shirt, still walking around the earth, watching their death recur, climbing out of their grave, wiping dirt off their shirt, still walking around the earth.
What up, everybody? Good afternoon.
Okay.
It's probably kind of hard to see what I'm doing right now, but I am adding some details to the canvas. I know it's kind of hard, but I got the time lapse going on, so I don't want this camera to be in the time lapse.
My dogs too official. They come running when I was good. They wanna know the issue, so they probably pull the pistol. You can listen to them go on the model pill. When you see him with the Nina, man, I wouldn't want to be a grip walk till they cripple tick tock. Whoa, miss your hip hop. When they dribble to the ref, blow the whistle. Grip walk till they cripple tick tock. Whoa, miss your hip hop. When they dribble to the ref, blow the whistle. Shorty think we're cute, they were super bad, but keep it simple. Ride it like an instrument on this shit. Blow my pickle like a whistle, sweet like Skittles. Take the rainbow. Let it get a raincoat and peep shows and freak show. Bubble like a T5, about to let my steam blow. Crip walk till they cripple tick tock. Whoa, miss your hip hop. When they dribble to the ref, blow the whistle. Crip walk till they cripple tick tock. Whoa, miss your hip hop. When they dribble to the ref, blow the whistle. No whistle. With the white like mayonnaise, no cut and no band-aids. Artificial man-made, fan fiction back page. Coke nose, make a whistle, drop bombs in the missile. Drag through the thorns and thistles, stopping problems like a pimple. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Blow your whistle. Yeah, blow your whistle. Yeah. Blow your whistle, yeah, no once. Quick walk till they cripple tick tock. Won't miss you hip hop. When they dribble to the ref, blow the whistle. The early bird catches the worm. Trap House Entertainment. 4 a.m. and any PA, and I don't need any delays. Record it and watch the replay, cause my time you cannot replay. 4 a.m. and any PA, and I don't need any delays. Record it and watch the replay, cause my time you cannot replay. My alarm is set for 4 a.m. I wake up early, hit the gym, burning off that cortisol. Every time I grip that steel, sex appealing, keep the chisel. I'm the shit like Crypto Desmo. 5 a.m. it's time to head home, take a shower, throw that shit on, pack my lunch and check my pockets. 6 a.m. head to the office, prepping for my STEM class, cause we working on some awesome projects. ISO body, coding logic. 10 a.m. I'm at the prison, teaching life skills like a father. I stay sharper than your barber. You don't hustle, they don't holler. I ain't got no time to waste. 24 hours a day. I'm always trying to be great. Seems you trying to be late. I ain't got no time to waste. 24 hours a day. I'm always trying to be great. Seems you trying to be late. 4 a.m. is my day off. Get up early, son of a pay off. Brush my teeth, wash my face off. Get the bud and I take off. 5 a.m. I'm in the stew. I got my paints, I got my boots. On the live stream, I got my crew. You know what we about to do. I'm about to make them colors blend. Bump some music, let it spin. TBG, we get it in. Tiny brush game for the win. Today, and we back it up. I'm hungry, pancakes stacking up. Cold apple juices in my cup, and then my shorty back it up. 4 a.m. in any PA, and I don't need any delay. Record it and watch the replay, cause my time you cannot replay. 4 a.m. in any PA, and I don't need any delay. Record it and watch the replay, cause my time you cannot replay. I ain't got no time to waste. 24 hours a day. I'm always trying to be great. Seems you trying to be late. I ain't got no time to waste. 24 hours a day. I'm always trying to be great. Seems you trying to be late.
Oh man.
The early bird catches the worm. Trap House Entertainment. 4 a.m. in any PA, and I don't need any delays. Record it and watch the replay, cause my time you cannot replay. 4 a.m. in any PA, and I don't need any delays. Record it and watch the replay, cause my time you cannot replay. My alarm is set for 4 a.m. I wake up early, hit the gym, burning off the cortisol every time I grip that steel. Sex appeal and keep the chisel. I'm the shit like Pepto Bismol. 5 a.m. Time to head home, take a shower, throw that shit on, pack my lunch and check my pockets. 6 a.m. head to the office, prepping for my STEM class, cause we working on some awesome projects. Eyes nobody coding logic. 10 a.m. I'm at the prison, teaching life skills like a father. I stay sharper than your barber. You don't hustle, then don't holler. I ain't got no time to waste. 24 hours a day. I'm always trying to be great. Seems you trying to be late. I ain't got no time to waste. 24 hours a day. I'm always trying to be great. Seems you trying to be late. 4 a.m. is my day off. Get up early, so be paid off. Brush my teeth, wash my face off. Hit the bud and I take off. 5 a.m. I'm in the stew. I got my paints, I got my boost. Start a live stream, I got my crew. You know what we about to do. I'm about to make them colors blend. Bump some music, let it spin. TBG, we get it in. Tiny brush game for the win. 10 a.m. we pack it up. I'm hungry, pancake stacking up. Cold apple juices in my cup, and then my shorty back it up. 4 a.m. in any PA, and I don't need any delays. Record it and watch the replay, cause my time you cannot replay. 4 a.m. in any PA, and I don't need any delays. Record it and watch the replay, cause my time you cannot replay. I ain't got no time to waste. 24 hours a day. I'm always trying to be great. Seems you trying to be late. I ain't got no time to waste. 24 hours a day. I'm always trying to be great. Seems you trying to be late.
And we right back at the top again.
Trap House Entertainment. While you in the whole slip, I practice my ghost step. No wreck, you get hung up like a coat check. No sweat, y'all little niggas ain't no threat. Protest, see it stretched out like a boat flex. Kick like Hotep, no prep. Stay ready, bench press, no stress. Cause the crown real heavy, gotta hold it steady. Being a monarch is daily one wrong move, and they coming for your head. Please. The greatest of all time, the game is all mine. You walk in the thin line, I think with a small mind. I design every rhyme, I'm still in my prime. Out the mud I had to climb, now you can't stop my shine. The greatest of all time, the game is all mine. You walk in the thin line, I think with a small mind. I design every rhyme, I'm still in my prime. Out the mud I had to climb, now you can't stop my shine. GOATTRAP, House Entertainment, ENT. We roll daily on Easy Street. You gon' pay me or kiss these feet and be in disbelief when you be missing teeth. I win so much, y'all missing sleep. I spin donuts, never miss a beat. Start making you niggas call me Mr. T. The greatest of all time, the game is all mine. You walk in the thin line, I think with a small mind. I design every rhyme, I'm still in my prime. Out the mud I had to climb, now you can't stop my shine. The greatest of all time, the game is all mine. You walk in the thin line, I think with a small mind. I design every rhyme, I'm still in my prime. Out the mud I had to climb, now you can't stop my shine. I'm the GOAT like Cash Clay, faster than a pin on a hand grenade. On a boat in Mandalay with Hennessy and Alizé, that's only they stripper name. Red bottom, blue checks, who you gonna screw next? I make one right, so you know I had a few left. When it hit your chest, gonna make you lose a few deep breath, G-O-A-T. Watch me do it too. The squares are all time. The game is all mine. You walk in a thin line and think with a small mind. I designed every rhyme. I'm still in my prime. Out the mud I had to climb. Now you can't stop my shine. The greatest of all time. The game is all mine. You walk in a thin line and think with a small mind. I designed every rhyme. I'm still in my prime. Out the mud I had to climb. Now you can't stop my shine. G-O-A-T. G-O-A-T. Trap House Entertainment. Trap house, trap house, trap house. That trap house entertainment. If you think long, then you think wrong. Had a brain fart and a brain fart, but I stay up and I stay hard. I'm loud and sharp like a chainsaw, and I study all of the case logs. So if they die, then they fuck. If you want to smoke, don't scream assault, because I can smoke all day long. Kicking shit like Phaelon. I'm street fighter, I keep fire like a deep fry. Got meat flies, the detail my desires. You get short circuit, it rewire. Using AI, now I brainstorm. Jumping on these hits like a rainstorm, cause I upgrade and I change forms. I want everything that I came for. Don't get lost in the dark, don't get lost in the dark. Don't get caught in your thoughts, don't get caught in your thoughts. Don't keep passing it off, don't keep passing it off. Don't get trapped in the fog, don't get trapped in the fog. If you got this far, then you better walk you up, then you better walk you up. Never step aside, continue to talk your talk, continue to talk your talk. Don't get lost in the dark, don't get lost in the dark. Don't get caught in your thoughts, don't get caught in your thoughts. Don't keep passing it off, don't keep passing it off. Don't get trapped in the fog, don't get trapped in the fog. If you got this far, then you better walk you up, then you better walk you up. Never step aside, continue to talk your talk, continue to talk your talk. That brain fog will have your vision dizzy. You a lame dog, I heard you guzzle glizzy. Like steak farm, I'm forever busy. Gotta stay calm and don't get pissy. Like Miss Piggy, nigga, you's a puppet. You so sus, need a new discussion. Using tools in public is a losing subject. My girl's brain heat like a moving oven. So who you bluffing like we? I don't know. Cause it's hard to see when them clouds low. So I stay high like an alto in that alcove. My dog's eating like Alpo, do we out cold? Keep your mouth closed. Who you spoken to? I'm still tough. You are open shoe, and I'll smoke you cool with hella fumes like a backwood. Let's move it. Don't get lost in the dark. Don't get lost in the dark. Don't get caught in your thoughts. Don't get caught in your thoughts. Don't keep passing it off. Don't keep passing it off. Don't get trapped in the fog. Don't get trapped in the fog. If you got this far, then you better walk you off. Then you better walk you off. Never step aside. Can't see you to talk. Get talk. Be thinking shit all good until it ain't. You better watch your step when you're moving in the streets. Trap House Entertainment. If you know what I know, better keep your eyes closed. Back roads and them palm cones make it hard to find. You know what I know, better keep your eyes closed. Back roads and them palm cones make it hard to find. I can hear you talk about me, never sidestep. I just make you niggas walk around me, placing side beds, heat like Pyrex. Fuck around and pour that dog about me. Hanging from a balcony is what it's about to be. Make you sleep like counting sheep. Told you I'm the best, better beat it. Michael Jackson in my Heisenberg, Walter White, I'm Michael Cranston. Anyway, I keep them matching street romance. Buried in the snow like an avalanche. Passing packs, smoking like I'm trying to kill my cataracts. If you know what I know, better keep your eyes closed. Back roads and the pine cones make it hard to find. You know what I know, better keep your eyes closed. Back roads and the pine cones make it hard to find. Niggas say they rapping, really rapping, and show no action. My goons laughing, we ship the product and move the package. We do the knowledge and dollar stacking. Might get nappy grandson, mama holler, get the ransom. I'm handsome but still a villain. You think I still won't kill a gold figure? You hang around gold niggas and cold sniffers. Another broke nigga, you broke nigga. The hood knows me for more than before I post niggas. If you know what I know, better keep your eyes closed. Back rows and them pine cones make it hard to find home. You know what I know, better keep your eyes closed. Back rows and them pine cones make it hard to find home. Trap House Entertainment. Misery loves company, but never borrow sorrow. So if you ever come for me, feelings where you wallow. Misery loves company, but never borrow sorrow. So if you ever come for me, feelings where you wallow. Miscalculating this your fate. Bragging boats would it be showcase. Please don't lose in this your hate. I can see the bitch all in your face. The look of disgrace, shame and sorrow. The emptiness makes you feel hollow. Plus the pain still remains tomorrow. Seen another day, but that still follows. That's gonna be a tough pill to swallow. Watch it down when they hit the bottle. Drunk on race so they hit the throttle. Don't crash out like they hit the lotto. A new bravado, a new bravado. A few more dollars, a newer model. Is that how your deepest losses, the deepest darkest, they keep on watching emotions. So I thought still spiral, feeling so low you can't take the arrow. Scared of the truth and keep your eyes closed. Just don't add your woes to my low. Miss emotions. So I thought still spiral, feeling so low you can't take the arrow. Scared of the truth and keep your eyes closed. Just don't add your woes to my low. Rain clouds around my head. Inside I feel dead. My room is real red. Happiness, they killed it. Nothing is fulfilling. Really fuck your feelings. The darkness is chilling. The lights revealing. It's a real call for me. But it never borrow sorrow. So if you ever come for me, yeah, and feeling where you are, you do real come for me. But never borrow sorrow. So if you ever come for me, the feelings where you wallow. So if you ever come for me, the feelings where you wallow. So if you ever come for me, the feelings where you wallow. Homie don't see them coming, but I do. Them niggas is creeping behind you. Ever move that work, cause it ain't your turf. Niggas shouldn't have to remind you. Them bullets is flying now. That boy is crying now, but nobody hears us. Yeah. Never cheat on me, she said she was talking to a man with a heart full of anger. In a 357 Magnum in her hand. She put 2 in his chest, put 2 more in his head. She said if she could have him, then nobody can. She wouldn't let him go though. Didn't have the strength to hold on. Put the gun to her head and nigga, you killed my homeboy. No, I gotta avenge that. Black mask, and I know where you live at. I went through a lot to get you, so I know I won't miss you. I'm killing whoever with you, yeah. Whatever did that guides my life, dear Lord, don't let me die tonight. But if I shall before I wait, then I'll accept my fate. When I committed sin, my heart was in the right place. I did what I did to put food on my plate. So when they come for me, keep me safe. I see dead people coming out of their grave, wiping dirt off their shirt, still walking around the earth, watching their death recur, climbing out of their grave, wiping dirt off their shirt, still walking around the earth. I see dead people climbing out of their grave, wiping dirt off their shirt, still walking around the earth, watching their death recur, climbing out of their grave. Okay. Yeah. Blow your whistle, yeah. Blow your whistle, yeah. Blow your whistle, yeah. Blow your whistle. My dogs too official, they come run when I was, cause they wanna know the issue, so they try to pull the pistol. You can listen to 'em go on the model pill. When you see him with the Nina, man, I wouldn't want to be a crip walk till they cripple, tick tock, Romans, your hip hop when they dribble to the right, blow the whistle, crip walk till they cripple, tick tock, Romans, your hip hop when they dribble to the right, blow the whistle. Shorty think we're cute, and we're super bad, but keep it simple, ride it like an instrument on the sheet, blow my pickle like a whistle, sweet like Skittles, take the rainbow, let it get a raincoat, the peep shows, a freak show, bubble like a T5, about to let my steam blow. Crip walk till they cripple, tick tock, Romans, your hip hop when they dribble to the right, blow the whistle. Crip walk till they cripple, tick tock, Romans, your hip hop when they dribble to the right, blow the whistle. Blow the whistle, with the white like mayonnaise, no cut and no band-aids, artificial man-made, fan fiction, back page, go balls, make a whistle, drop bombs in the missile, drag through the thorns and thistles, popping problem like a pimple, okay, yeah, blow your whistle, yeah, blow your whistle, yeah. Blow your whistle, yeah, blow your whistle. Quick walk till they cripple, tick tock, Romans, you hip hop when they dribble to the right, blow the whistle. The early bird catches the worm. Trap House Entertainment. 4 a.m. and any PA, and I don't need any delays. Record it and watch the replay, cause my time you cannot replay. 4 a.m. and any PA, and I don't need any delays. Record it and watch the replay, cause my time you cannot replay. My alarm is set for 4 a.m. I wake up early, hit the gym, burning off the cortisol every time I grip that steel. Sex appeal and keep the chisel. I'm the shit like Pepto-Bismol. 5 a.m. it's time to head home, take a shower, throw that shit on, pack my lunch and check my pockets. 6 a.m. head to the office, prepping for my STEM class, cause we working on some awesome projects. Eyes on body, code and logic. 10 a.m. I'm at the prison, teaching life skills like a father. I stay sharper than your barber. You don't hustle, then don't holler. I ain't got no time to waste. 24 hours a day. I'm always trying to be great. Seems you try to be late. I ain't got no time to waste. 24 hours a day. I'm always trying to be great. Seems you try to be late. 4 a.m. and it's my day off. Get up early, gonna be paid off. Brush my teeth, wash my face off. Get the bud and I take off. 5 a.m. I'm in the stew. I got my plates, I got my brew. Start a live stream, I got my crew. You know what we about to do. I'm about to make them colors blend. Bump some music, let it spin. TBG, we get it in. Teddy Brush game for the win. Today, then we back it up. I'm hungry, pancake stacking up. Cold apple juices in my cup, and then my shorty back it up. 4 a.m. in any PA, and I don't need any record it, and watch the replay, cause my time you cannot replay. 4 a.m. in any PA, and I don't need any delay. Record it, and watch the replay, cause my time you cannot replay. I ain't got no time to waste. 24 hours a day. I'm always trying to be great. Seems you try to be late. I ain't got no time to waste. 24 hours a day. I'm always trying to be great. Seems you.
Why are you not investing in tax links? Why are you not investing?
Leadership
That's Iran's
is in no
president
better
right now.
shape. Desperate and hiding, they've gone underground. But rats do. The so-called not-so-supreme leader is wounded and likely disfigured.
Except there's no bigger blowhard, liar, delusional maniac than Pete Hegseth.
Yeah, he's not in charge, to be clear. Obviously, he's a puppet of some old Lutnick-aged person
Yes.
from a certain Middle Eastern country who made a guitar, we don't know. But he's obviously not in charge. He's just there to clumsily give these speeches.
So he gave this speech,
Great job, by
and,
the way.
and what's that?
Great job. I saw it, and I was
Oh,
so
this.
impressed.
So I'm just going to give you a clip of this speech he gave. I think today. Let's listen to it.
Iran's leadership is in no better shape. Desperate and hiding, they've gone underground. Power.
Okay, now we know the exact opposite happened because the Ayatollah that they did kill, he refused to go to a bunker. He refused to go and hide out in the open like the rest of his population, and that's why he's dead.
Unlike Netanyahu, the coward.
Unlike Netanyahu, who's constantly flying around on airplanes, he won't go to Israel. He's going to Germany, he's going to Cyprus, he's going everywhere else but Israel, and he's on a plane all the time, so he can't get killed. Okay, just to let you know. So here we go.
Leadership is in no better shape. Desperate and hiding, they've gone underground. But rats do.
So rats do.
We know the new so-called not-so-supreme leader is wounded, likely disfigured. But our statement yesterday, a weak one, actually. No voice, and there was no video. It was a written statement. He called for unity. Killing tens of thousands of protesters is his kind of unity. Has plenty of cameras and plenty of voice recorders. Why a written statement? I think you know why. They're dead, scared, he's injured, he's on the run, and he lacks legitimacy. It's a mess for them. Who's in charge? Trump may not even know.
Okay. Okay.
Are we going to be there for a long time, though? I thought it was almost over, and Trump said we won.
So here is Ken's Ali Larijani that responds to Pete Hegseth, who said Iran's leaders are hiding. Our leaders are among the people. So where is your leader? on Epstein Island? Bam! Cool. Tweets out breaking. U.S. State Department is offering $10 million for anyone who provides information on Mohammed Khamenei and Ali Lajani. Meanwhile, Lajani are walking in the streets of Tehran today. Here we
So
are.
Pete Hegseth's betting you're not going to look into absolutely anything,
Anything.
which a lot of people will not.
Well, here is someone put this together side by side.
Oh.
This is Pete Hegseth saying his stupidity, and then here they are out in the streets.
Iran's leadership
That's Iran's
is in
president
no
right
bad
now.
shape. And hiding, they've gone underground. That's what rats do. New so-called not so supreme leader is wounded and likely disfigured. Maybe yesterday, a weak one, actually. No voice, video, a written statement. He called for unity. Killing tens of thousands of protesters is his kind of unity. It has plenty of cameras and plenty of voice recorders. Why a written statement? I think you know why. Father dead. He's injured. He's on the run, and he lacks legitimacy. It's a mess for them. Who's in charge? May not even know.
I think it's going to be this guy.
Please, Iran, Israel needs democracy. Please free them from this horrible regime. They're yearning for regime change, and only your hypersonic missiles can help the Israelis. They need it more than ever. Thank you.
A lieutenant colonel from Iran, a spokesman for Tem El Arabia's headquarters, the Iranian army, a reminder to the corrupted Epstein Island man. So here's what he says. Let's listen.
A reminder to the corrupted island man. The ground and the map of the war is in our hands. This will continue.
The United States wants a ceasefire. Iran isn't giving it to them.
Please
So
don't
Pete
cease
Hegseth
fire,
has to
Iran.
go out and he has to talk like a badass, even though we're getting our asses handed to us handily. They've shut down the Strait of Hormuz. They've wiped out our military bases in the Gulf states, and they're up. That now the whole world economy is upside down, and our stock market's about to crash. And Pete Hegseth, no matter how much bluster you give, no one's believing it.
But Jimmy, it's short-term pain for long-term gain. Short-term pain for long-term gain.
Yeah.
Short-term pain for long-term gain.
And so what this guy is saying is he's calling Donald Trump the island man.
Brutal. I mean, they're never going to stop using that. The bullshit of America pretending to be in charge, and now we know our leaders are pedo cannibals. I can't say nothing against Iran. Hey, did the Ayatollah eat any kids that we know of? Oh, no? Well, I guess we're the shitty country.
A reminder to the corrupted island man. That's what he says here. The ground and the map of the war is in our hands. This will continue. You know, when they were asked, hey, what about if the United States puts boots on the ground and sends troops into Iran? You know what they said? We've been waiting for them. We've been waiting for them.
They probably got a lot of pent-up anger of all the evil shit America did to them over the years.
Yes.
You only have the Ayatollah because of scumbag America, by the way.
I think
And they
you
didn't
know
even
what?
like him, but now they love him because the guy's better than Winston Churchill in the street.
That's right.
Oh, we got their 86-year-old leader. Yay! I'm sure that'll make Iran love Israel now.
What I was going to say now. Shit. Anyway, let's listen to him again.
A reminder to the corrupted island man. The ground and the map of the war is in our hands. This will continue.
This will continue. They don't want they are not going to stop until the United States is out of the Gulf. And if the United States doesn't leave the Gulf, they're going to wipe out the Gulf. They're going to wipe out Saudi Arabia. They're going to wipe out Qatar. They're going to wipe out Bahrain. They're going to wipe out the OAE. They're going to wipe out everybody. Kuwait. They have the ability to do that. They can take out everybody's desalination plants. They can take out everybody's power plants. So then they have no water and they have no power, which is an immediate humanitarian crisis.
Thanks,
And
buddy.
Iran can do this and wipe out the whole. And then you're
Need
going
nukes.
you're
They
gonna-
don't need a nuke.
and they don't need nukes to do this. And you're going to see refugees that you've never seen before. And
Donald Trump guards China's oil for them because they made the insurance rates go up. when they blew up all our bases.
Yes.
So now we got to protect our enemy, our bad enemy, China's oil for them. So yeah, no need for nukes. You can use the weapons they use, which are balsa wood drones that go right through the Iron Dome. Stop Iran until Israel's free. They need a lot of democracy right now. They haven't had a constitution for 70 years. It's time for someone to step in and bring freedom to Israel. Please do, Iran.
Here is so this
WordPress.com is professional WordPress hosting built to scale with no limits, slowdowns, or surprise fees. Plans start at just $2.75 a month with a free domain name for your first year.
We unified them more than ever, by the way. That's us that did that. Geniuses.
a country unified cannot be defeated, so they're unified. There he is. There he is walking through the streets. They're more popular than ever. Here's another one. Hey, Mr. Hegseth. This is the guy he's talking about. Mr. Hegseth, our leaders have been and still are among the people, but your leaders on Epstein's Island, bam, they're dunking on Hegseth right now.
Dude,
Yeah.
the Epstein Island jab, you can't get past that.
Again,
Every one of these supposed bad dictators is going to bring up how our leaders are cannibal PDF files every time now, and they should, and they're right to do it.
and just remember what Donald Trump, I just want to remind people every time I cover the war, I just want to remind them of how many times Donald Trump said doing something like this was stupid and counterproductive, and he promised to end this. He said,
Yeah, look at how opposite.
this is the United States has spent $8 trillion fighting and policing in the Middle East. Thousands of our great soldiers have died or been badly wounded. Millions of people have died on the other side. Going into the Middle East is the worst decision ever made. Can you imagine?
That's how you know
Can you
Trump
imagine-
is under control.
Can you imagine tweeting that and then doing that when you became president? He was
From being
president when he
blackmailed
He was
because
president when he tweeted that the first time in 2019. That was October 2019, right before he was going to lose the election. He tweeted that, and he's doing the same. He did the same thing to win the election this time. He did the same thing, pretending he was a non-interventionist, pretending he was going to end our involvement in foreign wars, pretending he was going to invest that money back. So that was his. That's his fake campaigning.
Isn't it ironic that the CIA has set up fake presidencies all over the world?
All over.
Greece being a major example, where the CIA was actually running Greece. That was the shadow government of Greece. Well, who knew that Israel was our shadow government?
Yeah.
And it is. And this statement alone should show you that. There's no way you say this. If I had said this, there is no way I could then turn around and be like, no, it's great. Iran's going to work out. I'd unify with Sam fucking Harris after I said something like this accurate.
Everybody jokes about this. Come see me in San Antonio, Albuquerque, Houston, Dallas, Salt Lake City, Las Vegas. We'll be in Burbank, California, May 7th, and then Tulsa, Oklahoma, and then Oklahoma City, and then Spokane and Tacoma. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets. Hey, we'll be in San Antonio, Albuquerque, Houston, Dallas, Salt Lake City, Las Vegas, Burbank, California. That's on May 7th. That's a Saturday. Then we'll be in Tulsa and Oklahoma City, Spokane, Tacoma. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for all those tickets. See you there.
Choose from thousands of realistic voices to use in your content. Change the way you record podcasts, voiceovers, and branded content with the #1 AI-powered voice generating technology. Stop searching for the perfect voice and stop wasting time re-recording take after take. Try 11 Labs for free and start elevating your content today.
Most guys think they don't look good in t-shirts. It's not your body, it's the cut. This sits where it's actually supposed to, and it's flared out so that it doesn't sit too long. That's a big difference. This just looks sharper, and you can grab yours right now.
We've just heard from the supreme leader of Iran, Ayatollah Moshtaba Khamenei. His statement was the first since he was elected by the Assembly of Experts. It was read on Iranian television. He called for unity among Iranians, and he said the martyrs will be avenged. And he also called on all US bases in the Persian Gulf to be closed immediately, or they will continue to be attacked. He said the Straits of Hormuz, that vital sea route, will remain closed. Seems like he's taking a very hard line, not in the mood for any kind of compromise or negotiation. Given that, where do you see this heading?
What kind of negotiation? Iran tried to negotiate twice. Both times it was bombed by Israel and the United States. Iran is under a absolutely brutal attack. It's under carpet bombing. The U.S. and Israel are destroying infrastructure. They murdered this man's father and the leaders of the Iranian government. They are killing thousands of people. So exactly what is to be negotiated? This is a brutal war of aggression by Israel and the United States, and Iran is responding. And it's not surprising that they are responding. They're under threat of conquest, basically. That was what Trump said, that he would pick the new leader, that Israel and the United States would run Iran. Well, the Iranian people have a different view, clearly. They're showing up by the millions to say that they don't want to be run by the United States and Israel.
Right, and President Trump is also claiming that the United States has won this war. That's what he says. Yet we see the missile attacks continue by Iran, by Israel, by the United States. I mean, do you envision any scenario in which the United States can declare victory when we don't even know what its objective is?
Yes, I see a scenario where they can declare victory. Trump does so. He says things for the immediate moment or for show or because he believes them. We're never absolutely sure which it is. But is there a way to real victory by the United States? No, this is a disaster for the United States. It is a disaster for the whole world. The U.S. and Israel have thrown the entire world into turmoil, perhaps into World War III. This was a brazen, violent, thought out, to say the least, move by these two countries, and now we're all suffering the consequences of this.
You say we could be in World War III. There are already more than a dozen countries involved in this conflict, most of them in the Persian Gulf. Do you see it expand to other parts of the world as well?
The United States is at war in many places. It is at war in the Western Hemisphere. It invaded Venezuela. It's talking openly about invading Cuba, which it's currently blockading. It met with Latin American leaders and talked about other military operations in the Western Hemisphere. Trump has threatened to invade Greenland. The United States is still heavily engaged in a war with Russia in Ukraine. We have war spreading through the Middle East. Israel is invading more countries. We have the war of Pakistan and Afghanistan taking place. We don't know, but it could be that when we look back even in weeks or months, we say, yes, World War III has started. But the United States is so reckless, so irresponsible, and led by such a delusional president right now that I'm sorry to say that anything is possible.
There are more than 1,500 Iranians who have been killed in this conflict so far, but we're also facing another crisis, that is an energy crisis. The world is facing an energy crisis right now. Oil prices are spiking. Energy experts say the full impact of this is yet to come, and we've just heard from the International Energy Agency, which says that this is the worst energy supply disruption in history. How will this affect and impact the global economy?
It's going. This year will be an economic catastrophe if this continues, and it looks like it will continue. We know that there are massive disruptions of oil supply. That's the point that the International Energy Agency just made. We know that only selective tankers are passing through the Strait of Hormuz, those that Iran is allowing to pass through for China and reportedly for India. But we know that there is a dramatic decline in availability of natural gas and oil. And history has shown, especially in the 1970s, when there were two such oil supply disruptions, that the consequences for the world economy are extremely severe, sharp, and relatively rapid in arriving. So I think we're in for a very, very significant global crisis brought to you by Israel and the United States.
One strategy the Iranians are using, and some call it an asymmetric strategy, is to hit US Persian Gulf allies, many of which host United States bases, of course. Iran is hurting their economies by targeting their oil supplies and oil infrastructure. It's also targeting vital energy industries. What do you make of this strategy by Iran and its effectiveness?
Well, Iran has been hit repeatedly by the United States and Israel, actually for decades. We can go back to 1953 when the United States deposed a democratically elected prime minister and brought in a police state for several decades. We can go to the war that the United States supported against Iran by Iraq in the 1980s. We can go to a long list of assassinations by Mossad and the CIA in recent years. What Iran is saying is we are under attack. This is existential, and the countries in the Gulf by hosting the enemy of our country that is trying to destroy us are part of this war against us. Now, Iran has said, and the new supreme leader has said, that this is not a war against the neighbors, it is a war against the United States, which is trying to destroy Iran. And just listen to any of the words of Trump or Netanyahu. It's not hidden. It's very, very brazen. Who will run Iran? Trump or the Iranians? This is what's at stake. So from the Iranian position, this is existential. If the world stood up and told Mr. Trump, go home, you're not going to pick the supreme leader, and said to Netanyahu, live within your borders, stop making so many wars in the region, it would help us to get past this very, very dire crisis.
To what extent did both the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, as well as President Trump underestimate the Iranian military, not just its battlefield effectiveness, but also the strategies that it is using? It is taking on two countries, both nuclear-armed countries in this conflict, vastly superior military forces.
States during my entire lifetime, which is getting on, it has underestimated its adversaries from Vietnam onward. The United States repeatedly has declared victory in days or weeks, only to find that the wars extended years or decades, with the United States crawling back home afterwards, having failed in all of its stated objectives and having squandered trillions of dollars and cost hundreds of thousands of lives. So this is very common. Yes, they completely misjudged Iran. Totally. They said so. That this would be one decapitation strike, that people would come out on the streets against the regime, Trump would pick the new leader. This is the fantasy world of American leaders, especially Trump, who has the most delusional perspective of all. But we've had many presidents that are quite delusional in this regard. They are so drunk with military power that they completely misjudge the rest of the world.
As I mentioned, more than 1,500 Iranians have been killed in the conflict so far. That also includes 168 school children who were killed in perhaps the most egregious of those attacks when their school was attacked in the south of the country. Preliminary investigations show that the United States was responsible for killing those children. It was one of its missiles that landed on that school. We look at South Lebanon, where the Israelis have been bombing the Lebanese there. 200 children have been killed there. I was wondering, to what extent, or how great is the risk, the likelihood that we could see Israel do to Tehran and Iran what it has done in Gaza?
Israel has committed a genocide in Gaza because its doctrine is kill its adversaries, kill them in mass numbers, kill the civilians, kill the women, kill the children, is the Israeli doctrine of war. They don't discriminate between civilians and military targets. They've leveled Gaza. They destroyed all its infrastructure. They destroyed all the schools, the clinics, the mosques, the hospitals, the housing, the water, the sanitation. Don't know the full death toll, but it almost surely is in the hundreds of thousands if you take not only the bodies that have been collected, which come to around 80,000, and those under the rubble, but people who have died of exposure, of lack of safe water, nutrition, lack of access to health care, and so forth. This is a brutal regime. I'm sorry to say it. It's terrible. It is a rogue, brutal regime. It's doing the same in Lebanon now, and it's doing the same with its carpet bombing of Tehran in Iran. And the world needs to stand up and stop accepting this as something even remotely normal or acceptable. Israel needs to go home and live within its own borders and get its head together again, because it's acting in a completely insane way. It needs to stop this. This is mass murder with U.S. complicity. So this is something that absolutely needs to stop.
Jeffrey, as you point out, the world needs to stand up and stop this. But when we look at the number of children, for instance, that are being killed, and the fact that it's not receiving wide attention in the media, I mean, is there also a danger that the killing, the murder of children in this way, mass murder, as you point out, is being normalized?
Has been normalized because, at least in my country, in the United States, and in much of Europe, and thanks to CGTN for telling the news as it really is, our so-called legacy media or mainstream media do not report the truth. And we are subject to so much propaganda all the time, so much normalization. It's beyond imagining for me. I attended a UN Security Council meeting a week ago, the day, more than a week ago, the day that the bombing started. And what did all the Western countries do? They attacked Iran for being bombed. You know, this is propaganda. This is so-called narrative control. So yes, mass murder has been normalized. You're told, oh, if you say that Israel committed a genocide, oh, that's anti-Semitic. It's not only not anti-Semitic, it has nothing to do with anti-Semitism. It is the grim reality that needs to be understood so that it doesn't continue to happen.
President Trump is not discounting the option of a land invasion. And of course, this recalls the Iraq invasion. But if we look at Iran, Iran is much bigger. It's a mountainous country. It will not be an easy country for anyone who invades on the ground. I mean, this could result in massive U.S. casualties, couldn't it?
I believe it. I think Trump is full of it in general, and I don't believe this can happen. You know, when the Iraq War happened, the American people were lied to relentlessly. We know it wasn't an error of judgment or doubt. It was direct lies, propaganda, that there were weapons of mass destruction that needed to be taken out. It was the excuse for war. At that time, the American people supported the war. Now, the American people are completely against what Donald Trump is doing. And that opposition will rise over time as their gas prices go up and as their incomes go down and as their jobs disappear and so on. So even
Yo, what up, guys?
Boots on the ground
Trying to detail this hair.
explosion that would happen in the United States would be absolutely enormous. So he's just facing the fact that every miscalculation has come to pass because he's delusional, because he has no strategy, because the whole group of them has no strategy. But I do not believe that there will be boots on the ground because, as you say, it would be a disaster and it would start in the stark opposition of the American people.
When we look at the US history of military assaults, invasions, assassinations, just in the past 25 years, it's left a trail of mass death and destruction. How would you describe the damage and destruction the US has left in the wake of what's been referred to as the Americans' forever wars?
30 years ago, Benjamin Netanyahu, when he became prime minister of Israel, with his American advisors, launched a project called Clean Break. The idea of Clean Break, everyone should understand, is to prevent permanently a state of Palestine alongside the state of Israel. So it's based on criminality because it is international law that there needs to be a state of Palestine alongside the state of Israel. But the purpose of Clean Break was to say any government in the Middle East or North Africa or the Horn of Africa that supports the Palestinian cause and supports resistance, we're going to overthrow. That is why there are so many wars, because Greater Israel delusion of Netanyahu and the American complicity has led to wars in Libya, Sudan, Somalia, Palestine, Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, Yemen, and now Iran. That's part of the doctrine. And it's crazy. Instead of just having a Palestinian state alongside the state of Israel, according to international law, we have wars across the Middle East that have claimed hundreds of thousands, millions, most likely, of lives, and have gone on for 30 years now.
Professor Jeffrey Sachs, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman in Los Angeles with Juan Gonzalez in Chicago. As we continue our coverage of the U.S. and Israeli war on Iran and the widening regional war, we go now to Israel. On Thursday, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu proclaimed a new Middle East as Israel escalates its attacks on Iran and Lebanon.
Even now, it can be said with certainty, this is no longer the same Iran, this is no longer the same Middle East, and this is also not the same Israel. We are not waiting, we are initiating, we are attacking, and we are doing so with a force the like of which has not been seen before.
We go now to Tel Aviv, where we are joined by the award-winning Israeli journalist Gideon Levy. He writes for Haaretz and is a member of its editorial board. His latest pieces include "Everyone in this country has gone insane" and "The Israeli media are first and foremost IDF soldiers." Levy's latest book is titled "The Killing of Gaza: Reports on a Catastrophe." Gideon, welcome back to Democracy Now! I know you've just come out of a bomb shelter, an air shelter. If you can describe the scene inside there, and then why you say your country has gone crazy, and also talk about the media coverage.
First of all, going to the shelter is always a very strange experience. We kind of got used, and we never got to get used. It kind of became routine, as it will never be a normal routine. Day and night, we are going quite often now also at nights. To see how this can last for many weeks or months, not forget, but you know, in Ukraine, they hardly have shelters. So at least in part of Israel, not all over Israel, but at least in part of Israel, we get this privilege of being protected. To your other questions. It's a strange phenomenon in which this war is so highly popular in Israeli public opinion or in Jewish Israeli public opinion. I never saw such a thing. 93% of the Israelis Jews, according to a last survey by the Israeli Democracy Institute, 93% of the Israelis support this war. It's our North Korean figures. Democracy, there is such a figure in a survey about any kind of question. 93% support the war. And this comes after 2.5 years of another war and conclude with big success. I mean, the war in Gaza, 70,000 victims, 1,000 babies killed. What did Israel gain exactly? Let's put it aside. Where are we aiming now? Where does this lead us? Nobody knows. I mean, all kind of slogans and cliches there, changing regimes. While there are 6 million, I just made now the account when who mentioned it, Amy, 6 million human beings are now homeless because of Israel. Can you imagine yourself?
Yo, what up, everybody? How you doing? Thank you.
In Lebanon, 800. Lebanon, 3.2.
Let the news lap over, so I'm not sure what I'm listening to right now.
In Gaza.
But I did try to get some news in about whatever the news
Do we have the right to do all those things?
event happening over in Iran.
Where are we aiming? What will be the morning after?
Nobody's with this shit except Israel. Israel and not even the U.S. citizens, just the U.S. government. And the politicians are all with it. But this guy says 92% of all Israelis are down with this bullshit. That's because they're all brainwashed to think that they're chosen people or whatever. But the rest of the world, yo, everybody else needs to stand up and be like, yo, Israel, U.S., cut the bullshit, bro. Fuck is y'all doing? Now, Netanyahu says he's gonna fucking bomb even harder. I mean, like, how much harder can you fucking bomb, bro? And it's not even the amount or the type of munitions that they're dropped, it's the targets now. So you couldn't get them to stop by just crippling their military capacity. They're gonna start. They already bombed the school. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna try to demoralize people and get the citizens to beg for a ceasefire, because they're bombing schools and hospitals and religious centers of worship. So I already see gas prices in my area going up. And, you know, ever since the Russia-Ukraine war, gas prices just been fluctuating hella weird. And grocery prices as well, especially where I live. I live in a northern part of the U.S. where we don't have a lot of long growing season. So in the wintertime, our produce already is more expensive because we have to get it shipped from the south. Because where I live, we don't grow strawberries and fucking watermelons in the wintertime because we can't. It's too cold. So we got to get all our shit shipped in. And so produce is just more expensive in the winter months. But now that, like, prices of everything is just always fucking high. You got paid like damn near $3 for one mango. It's like, God damn. A $3 mango? That's crazy. That's highway robbery. That's highway robbery. I might need to add some color on here. Maybe this.
But unfortunately, the discourse and the Israeli media as a whole are not ready even to discuss it. Speak about 93% of the population which supports this war. You have to understand that they are exposed to 100% of agreeing with the war in the media, mainly in the TV. There is no room for any question marks or doubts about this war. Or it develops suspicious, it seems. So we are aiming.
Well, given at the same time, though, you say that the overwhelming percentage of the Israeli Jews, but there's 21% of Israel that are Arab, of the citizens of Israel. We're not talking about the occupied territories. So there's obviously has to be a different perspective among those Arabs who are citizens of Israel, doesn't there?
So for nobody counts them. Their voice has no influence neither in the parliament, even though they vote and can be elected, nor in their public discourse. Nobody counts them. Nobody listens to what they have to say, so they are totally irrelevant. Many times not legitimate. But if you want the figure was 23% of them support this war. I mean, a tiny minority relative to the vast majority of Jews. And this is quite understandable. I even wonder who are those 23% who support this war, but it's the figure.
I wanted to ask you also about the level of, it seems to me, overextension of the Israeli military machine. We're talking about Israel is now involved in hostilities, not just in Iran and still in attacking Gaza. There are, in the West Bank, obviously, there are Israeli soldiers deployed there. In Lebanon, in Syria, there are still Israeli troops in Syria, and conceivably even in Iraq, because there have been attacks now. It's not clear whether it's from Israel or the United States on popular mobilization forces in Iraq in the past few days. How is it possible for the leaders of Israel to think they can continue this on any kind of long-term basis?
Is that they can. And maybe they're implementing the vision of your ambassador, your official ambassador, Mike Huckabee, who just said recently in an interview that Israel should be in the Nile, the rivers of Iraq. In other words, he believes that Israel, that the entire Middle East belongs to Israel. Maybe we are on a stage of implementing the vision of His Excellency, the Ambassador of the United States of Israel, who I can't understand why, to be hardly speak, does he represent your administration, your public opinion, your president? Who exactly in the United States think that Israel should rule the entire Middle East because support in ancient times promises to the Jews? I mean, quite weird for me to see that such an ambassador continues to represent the United States in Israel. But look, Israel is doing as much as it can. As long as the American support is so massive, so blind, and so automatic, this will go on. The United States will see it in a different way. This will stop, and it's very clear that these are not, almost I could say that I'm hope against the United States, which enabled all this, rather than to Israel, which tries as much as it can to conquer more, to govern more, and to launch more wars.
Gideon Levy, you recently wrote a piece in Haaretz about the Abu Alas family, who live in the town of Habatia in the Jenin district of the occupied West Bank. 2 sons of the family were killed almost exactly 10 years apart by Israeli soldiers. Both were 17 years old at the time of their deaths. You write that in December, Rayan was walking down the street in his neighborhood when he was killed. The shooting caught on security footage that you published in your reporting. In the video, you can see 2 Israeli soldiers waiting behind a wall. Rayan enters the frame, walking in their direction. The soldiers step out and shoot him at close range, less than 6 feet away.
Yes, and I published this story a few weeks ago. Already this week I bring another story of 2 brothers, but at this time they were both shot at the same time, not 10 years. Those brothers were killed in a gap of 10 years, less than a week, by the way, to be very precise. I was in another village and some settlers in uniform shot 2 brothers on their private land, which is an area which is not controlled by the PA, and still a settler shot them. One is dead and one is severely injured. The main question you should ask, Amy, an investigation? Did one of those shooters, or may I call them murderers, was ever or will be ever brought to justice? And I think you know the answer.
I wanted to ask you about the press coverage, both by the Israeli press as well as by the international press, on the damage within Israel, because we're seeing U.S. reporters who are based in Tel Aviv giving us great footage of the destruction in the Gulf states and of the bombs in Iran, but very little of what is actually going on in Israel in terms of the structural damage that the missiles and the drones from Iran are causing within Israel.
The Israeli media, or the mainstream media, stopped a press or a journalistic organ long time ago. You are talking about not showing the damages in Tel Aviv. Israeli TV show about what Israel had done for 2.5 years in Gaza. Nothing. Any potato grower in Idaho saw more of Gaza than someone in Tel Aviv watches only Israeli TV. When it comes to this war, they show even there are also damaging in Israel. There are some censorship restrictions, quite limited, so they will not direct their bombing according to the place that the missiles fall. But this is marginal. We don't have a free press. I mean, we have a free press. This is much worse. But this free press itself under self-censorship, and thinks that in times of war and also in other times, the press is just an agency of the government and of the military establishment. And this is very worrying.
It's accepted that Israel does not allow international journalists into Gaza, and it's not talked about. CNN always prefaces their reporting from their journalist who is in Tehran, Iran, as saying it's controlled, though it's not controlled editorially, they say. They do not continually repeat the same thing for their reporters in Israel. it's critical to talk about Gaza. Your next book, Gideon Levy, is about Gaza, and also your continued coverage, which we hear very little about, of the West Bank. You also talk about the communities of Sassia there. If you can talk about that as an example of what's happening and the terror Palestinians are facing there.
Under the cover of the war, the West Bank is changing dramatically and only for the bad. Atlas, together with the army, did in the last 2 years is unprecedented and irreversible. It really changed the life. You can just go in the roads and understand that this is not the occupied, oppressed West Bank that you knew before, because it's much worse now. Right now, almost all the villages and towns in the West Bank are locked. And when I say locked, I mean locked by metal gates like real prisons. The whole West Bank looks like a collection of concentration camps. No other way to describe it. People are not allowed, ever since the war started, people are not allowed to get in, people are not allowed to get out. The checkpoints are open for a few hours, but you never know if you'll be able to come back. Nothing is planned, and the whole attitude of the army dramatically changed ever since the war in Gaza. In the same time, the settlement, the war in Gaza and now in Iran, is a huge historical opportunity for them. Over tens of thousands of acres all over the West Bank by force, and they are kicking out the population, the farmers, the shepherds, community after the other, after months and months of tyranny of violent settlers, many times in uniforms. They have no other choice but to give up, to surrender, and to leave their homes, their villages, and their fields. It's a process. It's not one incident here and one incident here. I'm sorry, daily thing now. Nobody brings people to justice after those pogroms, and the West Bank is changing dramatically. I know already about dozens of villages which were evacuated because the people cannot take it anymore, the Palestinians.
Gideon Levy, I want to thank you for being with us. Award-winning Israeli journalist, writes for the Israeli newspaper Haaretz, is a member of the editorial board there. His latest opinion pieces we'll link to. Everyone in this country has gone insane, and the Israeli media are first and foremost IDF soldiers. Gideon Levy's latest book is titled The Killing of Gaza, Reports on a Catastrophe. Thanks for watching Democracy Now! On YouTube. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to make sure you never miss a video. And for more of our audience-supported journalism, go to democracynow.org, where you can download our news app, sign up for our newsletter, subscribe to the daily podcast, and so much more.
Democracy Now! Everybody not with this fucking war, even
another wolf response. I call this one Iran, a likely losing war. Or if you like, another war likely lost. I want to put the Iran war started unilaterally by the United States and Israel a few days ago, first of all, into historical context, because that is so rarely done. Since the end of the Second World War, the United States has engaged in 4 major wars: Korea, Vietnam, Afghanistan, and Iraq. The war in Korea ended in a stalemate. The United States did not win. It divided Korea in half, which is why we still have one country called North Korea and one country called South Korea. The second war in Vietnam the United States simply, and I want to use the English word here, lost. The enemy in that war was the Communist Party of North Vietnam. Who runs Vietnam today is the Communist Party of North Vietnam. They won, and the United States lost. In Afghanistan, the next war, the enemy was the Taliban. Who runs Afghanistan today? It's the Taliban. The U.S. lost. In Iraq, there's a constant liquid kind of shifting of who's in charge. Kind of hard to pinpoint who won. But it's clear who didn't. The United States didn't win and isn't about to. So when I say Iran, another war likely lost, you can see why historically this is a country that ought not to be anywhere near so quick on the trigger as this case of Iran. Iran couldn't threaten the United States. It has no way to do that. And if it did do it, would suffer a consequence no rational government would do. But the United States and Israel went ahead anyway, and I want to look at that. War is a terrible scourge. It kills mostly people who have nothing to do with it, what we like to sometimes call civilians. And that is already the case in Iran after even only a couple of days. It leaves lifelong scars on entire populations, especially when the war happens in their own country. But as we have learned, more American soldiers died after those wars I mentioned by suicide than were killed in the actual combat. That's what I mean by horrible consequences. I want now to turn to what are the likely consequences of Iran, some of which you will not hear a word about in the mainstream media, some you will, but not in the way or to the extent I'm going to do in the next few minutes. Okay, this is another American war on a Muslim country. You know, like Iraq, like Afghanistan. It is important to understand that in many parts of the world that the United States has to live with, many more people on this planet are Muslim than are American. Many times more. It is therefore risky to keep killing Muslims. The four countries I mentioned, Korea, Vietnam, Afghanistan, and Iraq, would be listed among the 10 poorest countries on the face of the earth, both at the time of their wars with the United States and today still. Maybe not true for Vietnam, which has come back with quite a stunning economic growth record. But the United States was always the most militarily powerful country in the world, and it could not win against four of the poorest countries in the world who had a small or non-existent Army, Navy, and Air Force, mostly non-existent. Think about that, please. Wars are mostly about the domestic problems of the countries that go to war. Typically, the leaders who get us into wars, or to get anybody into wars, are trying by a war with another country to overcome their own domestic difficulties. That's why you can't trust most of what governments say. That's why a famous journalist, and I wish I knew exactly who it was, maybe one of you can enlighten me, but a famous journalist a few years back wrote that fantastic line, and I quote, "The first casualty in every war is the truth. The two sides tell lies. They enhance their victories and they hide their defeats. The U.S. doesn't do that alone, but the idea that the U.S. doesn't do it is beneath humor, let alone contempt." What would be the domestic problems that Mr. Trump is trying to cope with by making a war on Iran? And let's make no mistake, Israel doesn't decide. It's Mr. Trump and the advisors around him who made the decision. Well, here we go, and this you will know. The economic system of the United States is in very deep trouble. There aren't enough jobs. There's not enough housing. The cost of food is driving many people over the edge of economic insecurity. We don't use honest words like hunger anymore, so we call it food insecurity. Yeah, but we all know what it means. With elections coming up in a few months, November, Mr. Trump faces a terrible problem that the Democratic Party, all of its wings, progressive, centrist, have made affordability a weird, indirect word that could and should be replaced by too much month at the end of the money. That's a problem, and Mr. Trump could lose just on that issue alone, and many of the polls show that. And now perhaps he can distract at least some of the people who could get into the patriotic war of cheering on a war, or at least focusing on it, having the headlines of the evening news all about it, instead of all about the economic system that isn't providing food, clothing, shelter in an affordable way to the mass of the people, let alone adequate health care and insurance, let alone adequate education, etc. Mr. Trump has much to distract us from the economy, and a war maybe can do it. Then we have Mr. Trump's other problems. The headlines each day are full of the horrors of Epstein and all that it means about that class of very rich, privileged people. A tiny part of our population, but then again, the rich employer class, or what some are coming to call the Epstein class, is a very small part of our population. 1, maybe 2%, 3, maybe 6 million people out of a population of 330 million. They're taking too much space in the headlines. But the horror of what they committed has to be confronted, because it's not just about them, it's about a society that makes this happen over and over again. Some more, some less horrible. Some more caught, some less caught. some more openly displayed before us, some less so. Certainly those who are involved a long way, as Epstein did do, to not get caught, to stretch it out over decades that he was doing all of that, and buying off the political support, the elegant people who could mask who and what he was, the lawyers and the judges and the prosecutors bought off from doing their jobs. He has a lot not to have on the front page, and a war is a distraction from a domestic problem for this government. And then there's the reality that Mr. Trump's government has been plunging in all the popularity polls. Do you support the president? Do you believe the president is doing a good job? Are the Republicans in power managing that in a good way? The polls are unambiguous. They don't all get the exact same number, but they all get the same direction. And that direction for the president is down. That's even part of why the Supreme Court, his party dominates it 6-3, saw 3 of the 6 usual conservatives.
All right, taking the bathroom break real quick, guys. We'll be right back. We're gonna wrap this bit of Harold
Economic
as soon as we get back.
the tariffs, declaring them and his action in imposing them unconstitutional. Mr. Trump doesn't want us to think a lot about that. That's why he was up the next day talking about new tariffs, as if he could undo what the Supreme Court had just done. He cannot. And that will become clearer as we get down the road. And all of this, Iran, is a distraction. Let me close by now telling you about the consequences of the Iran war that are, strictly speaking, economic and will touch every one of you one way or another. First of all, the price of oil jumped up by over 10% this morning. Wow. And it may continue in future mornings. But even if it just rose 10% in a morning, wow. You know what that means? The price of gasoline, which comes from the oil, will have to go up. Why? Because the refineries, the big oil companies, they don't want to have to eat the cost of rising oil that they buy to make it into gasoline. They'll pass the price on to you and to me. And you know, the price of oil and gas is raised by the refineries as we get into the summer driving season anyway. It's a profit
this last little bit out real quick.
Tool that they use at our expense, so we're supposed to pretend that doesn't happen.
When they say she made it back.
Going to do what the price of gasoline does every summer. But now we'll have an extra one. They'll have to raise the price not only to make their profit goals, but now to compensate for the rising price of oil. That's a consequence of the Iran attack by the United States and Israel. Here's another one. Natural gas. In much of the world, energy is provided not by oil, but by a different resource. Natural gas brought up from under the surface of the planet and then compressed and cooled so it can become a liquid form of that gas. It's called liquefied natural gas, or LNG. The price of that over the last couple of days has gone up, get ready folks, by 30 to 35% around the world. Why? Because it turns out that a lot of that gas, that LNG form of it, passes through the Straits of Hormuz, which are an area that the Iranians can make unpassable for ships. You know, the way the Houthis have been doing for 2 or 3 years already, and the Iranians are better at it, better equipped, much more numerous, much stronger. Natural gas going up 30 to 35% will have the following consequence. It will make the cost of natural gas everywhere, including in the United States, where large parts of our country heat their homes with it, run their factories with it, produce electricity with it. All of that will become more expensive. But you know who suffers the most? Europe. They depend utterly. And they've been terribly impacted economically. Germany is in the middle of a recession, and Germany was the powerhouse economy of all of Europe. All of Europe is growing much slower than the United States, which means even more slow relative to China and India, who outgrow Europe and outgrow the United States almost by equal measure. But the United States is ahead of Europe. One of the things you hear Mr. Trump say, because he can't say much about the troubled economy of the United States, he has to go about cherry picking his statistics in an extraordinary way. But Europe has no escape. One of the reasons Europe is in such trouble is they decided that they would, the Europeans now, punish Russia for invading Ukraine by refusing to buy Russian oil and gas. That meant all the European users of oil and gas had to buy it and find it from somewhere else, usually much further away than Russia, which is part of Europe. And so the price of energy went up, and therefore the price of everything else in Europe went up. And therefore the rest of the world, including Europeans, stopped buying the European product because the price had been raised too high. And now the U.S. war in Iran is going to make the cost of energy in Europe even higher than its already crippling level had been because of the Ukraine war. Europe is in a long-term decline. The United States is at the beginning. They lost their empires a century before we now are losing ours. They don't have wiggle room. They don't have the ability to go with this new punch in the gut. And that's what Mr. Trump has delivered to them. On top of the tariffs, on top of the disrespect that is the number one topic of conversation among honest Europeans over the last year. This will worsen the collapse of the American-European alliance. It will disrupt this rising price of oil and gas. The longer this war lasts, the more these impacts will flow. This is a disaster. And you should wonder, you, my American audience, more than those of you that are not here in the United States, virtually no real honest discussion. Mr. Trump couldn't do it because it would create such doubt, such questioning, such scratching of the heads. Why do this? if we're not under threat? Why risk all of this? He can't answer those questions. That's why he didn't bring it before us, the American people. That's why he didn't bring it before Congress, the people we elect, who under the U.S. Constitution are supposed to make the decision whether or not to go to war, because it is so dangerous, because it is so risky, and because it's risky
Pricey,
for all
too.
of us,
So pricey.
not just a handful who made the fateful decision. Iran, another war likely to be lost. If interventions like these strike you as useful, please share them with other people who might be interested. That's why we make them. If you partner with us, our reach becomes that much greater. And that's why we do this sort of work. And of course, as you all know, doing this takes money, and donations will be enormously appreciated as they make all this possible. Thank you. Friends, to another Wolf response. We're going to talk about the national debt. Many of you have written or communicated with us that you would like an analysis of what all this talk is about, the government's debt, the deficits, and all of that. I'd like to ask, stuff is never taught in school, or the newspapers either don't understand it, which you would be surprised how often that happens. Just don't communicate it well. That happens often too. In any case, it isn't all that complicated, and it is an important part going down in this country, and that's why it's important for us to talk about it. This begins to make sure everybody's on the same page. In the United States, as in most countries, society in its government has given itself certain rights and obligations. These obligations and rights are given to the government by the government. Along with it, we vote in the elections, or we don't, make a revolution to change it all. We've done those things. Quite a while now, we have a fairly settled set of rules. And under those rules, the government has certain obligations. It has to maintain an army. It has to provide Social Security for people who've given a lifetime of work and then retire around the age of 65 or a bit older. Maintains roads and harbors. Maintains public parks, ports, universities, and so on and so on. Those are obligations that are given to the government. But of course, to do all those things, the government has to hire people to do the work. Maintain Central Park in the middle of New York City. Human beings who rake and cut the lawn and plant the shrubs, and the government hires people to do what we want the government to do. Hospital, teaching the school, serving the army, and so on. The same government gives itself the right to raise the money to do what the government is asked to do. The government do that. It's given itself two ways to raise the money.
Taxes.
One way is called taxation. The government can tax individuals and institutions like enterprises, factories, offices, stores, and so on. Finally, the government can raise money by borrowing it.
From the Fed.
First, when the government borrows, it has to
Federal.
pay interest
Yeah.
to the people it borrows from,
Treasury
and it has
bonds.
to pay them back at some point. This is the simplest issue then. Government spends a lot of money to do what we want it to do. The government raises our taxes to pay for it, then everything is clear. Does the government do that? Yes. Has the government sometimes done that? Yes. Are governments around the world sometimes doing that? Yes. And more often, governments don't raise as much in taxes as they spend. When that happens, they don't have enough dollars here in the United States to do all the things we want the government to do. Well, then the government has to borrow whatever it doesn't raise in taxes. The difference between the amount raised each year in taxes going to Washington versus the amount of money Washington spends on all the things we want to do is called a deficit. If the deficit is zero, it simply means that the government has raised enough in taxes to cover all of its expenses and it doesn't need to borrow. If there is a deficit, or the other of two things must have happened. Spending went up without the taxes to meet it, or taxes were cut without the spending going down to meet it. It's very simple once you get the hang of it. Of course, the minute you understand it, you'll know that in a complicated society, whether it has 5,000 people or 5 million people, or like the United States, 330 million people, they don't all agree on what the government should be spending money on and where it should be getting its taxes from, and then whether or not it should borrow so that it can lower the taxes without having to lower the spending. We had deficits, yes, of our history, and particularly in recent years, our deficits have been out of anything we've ever seen before.
Hey, babe.
Fiscal year 2024, the year that ended the accounting year in October of this year, as fiscal years do in the United States, between what the government spent and what it raised in taxes, the deficit, the whopping $1.16 trillion.
Oh wow, y'all had a whole conversation.
What a trillion is. It's an immense amount of money. Recent years, we have been borrowing trillions of dollars as a nation. Had not been raising taxes to pay for what the government is doing. And depending on your point of view, ideology, your beliefs, however more or less well thought out they might be, answer to why we have a deficit so big, because either we've cut taxes without cutting spending, or we've raised spending without cutting taxes. Country, we've basically done both. The Trump is rightly famous because in 2017, when he was president, he gave corporations and the rich one of the biggest tax cuts in history. And all that money that used to come into the government wasn't coming in anymore.
So he's basically saying that America is really super fucked by starting this war. And our government really doesn't want to give us the real numbers. Inflation is going up, prices are going up, joblessness is going up, and they're not really telling us the truth. And he's trying to break down the national budget and how the deficit works. And so Yeah, when we don't have enough money, we just borrow money, and that's why we're in so much debt, and they keep raising the debt ceiling because we keep going to war and burning money up for no reason. So now we got some highlights in the hair. Got some braids going on over here. So now everything has a first detailed layer. And now next thing we'll do is clean off the palette, and we'll get back in our skin tones, and we'll start to wrap this thing up. It's way more than halfway done. We're really close, guys. I don't see the second detail layer taking a long time for anything. I really try to get as much details in this first one as possible. Focus, camera. Come on. Come back to us, camera. Focus for me. So, yeah, a few highlights in the skin tones. The hand is going to need more work than anything else because there's a lot of wrinkles and highlights in that hand. Not a lot of skin showing, so we can run through the skin tones. The clothes look really good already. A few more highlights in the blue shirt. I honestly might not touch this pink shirt. Maybe the sleeve right here. I'll try to beef up the contrast a little bit with some highlights there, and then throw a few more highlights on the braids again. I don't know, the dreads might be done. I really like it. Yeah. That's what I say now. Like once I get those final highlights, the hair is really what pulls us away because you can see the edge of everything now. It's harder to see on camera, but it looks real good. All right, guys. Well, we did a good solid 2 hours. I can't complain about that. In those 2 hours, we got a lot done. I say we'll set this down for the evening, and our next session we'll be back in skin tones again. So I'm almost certain we might be finishing this thing up by next weekend. We'll be wrapping this up and starting our next task is to do another underpainting after we finish this. I ain't gonna lie, you, I breezed through this one. Yo, kind of impressed on the time frame for this shit. Motherfucking breeze through this shit. That's how I know I gotta do this shit full time, man. I'll be knocking these bitches out every other week. Every other week, your boy have a new paint. Feel me? Hey. Anyway, I really appreciate everybody hanging out and chilling with me in the studio this afternoon, checking out the progress on the paintings. This is number 7, number 6. It's number 7 to the Whisper series, and having a lot of fun on it. So we'll continue to work on this one in our next session. I hope everybody has a lovely evening, and we'll get with you guys in the next one. Peace. We're out of here.